Dr. James,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfect.
Wonderful.
Good. Awesome. Again, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. How's your day going?
I was going just fine. Thank you for having me today.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, first and foremost, doing a little research. I believe it's Happy Founders Day to you, correct?
The purple and gold. Shout out to you know.
Good. Well, I got my black and gold on, but neither here nor there.
Mistakes, man. We all make mistakes, but it's all good. You got the gold right at least. Okay.
Some people start a little earlier than others, but neither here nor there. But it's all love. But thank you again for joining in. Today, we are going to be speaking about Morris Brown College, for which you are the president of. And first and foremost, congratulations on getting the approval for you guys to move forward with your accreditation. First and foremost, I want to know, there have been a few HBCUs who have lost their accreditation, and Morris Brown, when you guys get yours, you will be the first. Why was that important for you to make sure that Morris Brown College got its accreditation?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, it's just kind of interesting how I even ended up here at Morris Brown. I was sitting there and I was watching the news and I saw where my predecessor had resigned.
Okay.
And just like that, something said to me, you should be the president of Morris Brown. And I immediately picked the phone and I called the 6th district of the AME Church and said, how do I apply to be the president of Morris Brown College? And the history, I mean, it was a long, but I feel like God sent me to Morris Brown. HBCUs, they're so important to the country. There's no other organization outside of the Black church that affects the Black middle class the way that HBCUs do. And so we cannot the HBCUs to close. Morris Brown is held on by a thread for the last 18, 19, going on 20 years. Yeah. And I just feel honored to be able to lead this institution out of the grave, literally. Oh. And we are now out of the grave, walking around a little bit, looking around. Hey, let's take it now to the next level. So,
right. Awesome. So you spoke a little bit about the importance of HBCUs. Can you speak a little bit more about why these institutions are so important to the Black community?
It's interesting when people ask me, are HBCUs still important today? My response is look at the data. 80% of Black judges came from HBCUs. Wow. Black doctors, Black lawyers, Black dentists, Black pharmacists, Black teachers, Black STEM folks.
Vice President-elects
of the country, right? What HBCUs have done for this country, no other institution, like I mentioned, pours into Black middle class like HBCUs. That's the first thing. Right. Outside of what we've already done for this country and what we're continuing to do, look at what's going on in the country right now regarding Black people, the racial injustices and all those kind of things. Right. You are most comfortable as a Black man or a Black woman right now on the campus of a historically Black college. You don't have to worry about being arrested by police, by white racist officers. You don't have to worry about getting shot down, campus, because everyone around you is you. You're looking in all around. So HBCUs, they pour into the Black middle class, they pour into this country, and they're safe havens for us to educate us. One thing about me is I attended as an undergrad both a historically Black college and a PWI, and I can tell you from firsthand experience that there absolutely is a difference between the two.
Right. Agreed. So we've actually seen, or I've seen kind of recently, there's been an uptake in the promotion of HBCUs on the main stage, mainstream media, TV, film, sports, athletes, and things like that. Do you think that type of promotion, or I guess ask this way, how does that type of promotion impact HBCUs? May it be the promotion of them, enrollment rates, or donor support?
Yes. All of the above, exactly what during a pandemic, we've seen a slight increase at some HBCUs regarding the enrollments. You see right now that you have top basketball and football prospects selecting HBCUs over the likes of Duke and North Carolina and University of Georgia and University of Florida, right? And already see from a social standpoint that once you start talking about HBCUs, it can catch fire.
Right.
And if you look at the philanthropy that happened this year during a pandemic, right? $100 million Amazon just gave to HBCUs, Netflix, Oprah Winfrey, Robert Smith. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Right. And so I'm hoping that it's not a fad. I'm hoping that it's here to stay and it continues. I mean, even if you look at the presidential election, every single candidate had some kind of HBCU platform, right? Now that we Biden in, I'm going to be at the table to make sure that everything that he promised us, that he delivers on it. I believe the last Fed was $70 billion for HBCUs. I believe it was. We're gonna all the presidents. We're gonna make sure that we hold them accountable because we're the ones that got them into there. We got him elected.
Exactly. And that was one of the questions I had too. You know, I did see that Biden specifically had a plan, but I wanted to know, what did that support look like for you? How will you be holding them accountable, and what are you expecting them to do for you? Is it purely financial? Are there different regulations, taxes, and things like that that's specific to you and your organization?
Absolutely. So as a private, we're going to be looking at government regulations. We're going to be looking at budgets. We're going to be looking at budgets. We're going to be looking at the support and the resources, because it's not always money. People always think it's just the money, but it's the economic policy. It's policies and if you look at, for example, say policing, that directly affects historically Black colleges and universities policies, right? If you look at policy such as housing, that directly affects us. If you look at policy in K-12, that directly affects and impacts Black colleges. So all of these policies, they're all interconnected and intertwined, that they affect how colleges and universities run. Why is it so important? Because the Black middle class, for the most part, earn at least associate's degree or some kind of community college or technical college education, and go on from there to at least get a bachelor's degree at minimum, right? When you look at the Black middle class or upper middle class or upper class. So, you know, these policies and procedures and all these things, they directly impact how all colleges and universities operate, but specifically historically Black colleges and universities, because we systematically are under both publics and privates. Right.
And that's going back, just to take it back a little bit, kind of doing research and stuff, I did not find where there was enough, I would say, rah-rah or conversations about the institution before losing the accreditation. Where would the donor support? Why did it take so long? Do you know? I mean, I know you just came in now, but just from research and history, doing why it took so long for Morris Brown College to get back in good standing, or at least on this level?
Well, I don't really have an answer for the why folks don't give. I will say that leadership is everything. Let me say that.
Okay.
And I've had phenomenal predecessors. Let me say that too.
Right.
But it just depends on style and how you convince folks that this is a place that you should give and pour into.
Right.
And so we have just been fortunate under this administration to get folks to buy into the vision of the hard reset, and to be able to tell a story compelling enough to show folks, look, this is not only what we're saying, but we're doing. Support us, pour into us, and kind of go from there. I will say another thing about this has been the timing. 18, 19 years, did folks really believe it was possible? Because this has never been done before. No school has ever come back 20 years after losing its.
Yep.
Would someone give me $1 million and say, here's $1 million to something that's never been done before, right? You got to show me something before I'm comfortable with giving you $1 million, right?
Exactly.
So that, I just kind of want to add there, but I'm glad to say it doesn't matter about the past. Where are we going? And that's kind of where we're right now.
What does the restoration of Morris Brown College, where does that fit when it comes to Atlanta University Center, AUC as a whole? How will that add to AUC?
Well, first of all, I want to go on record and say that Morris Brown was and still is the heartbeat
Okay.
of that center.
Okay.
I mean, all the stories from back in the day,
Yep.
the center of all of what was going on was at Morris Brown College. We had the best football team, we had the best band, we had the best culture. Folks came over here, you know, we went over there. I mean, there is no AUC historically without Morris Brown. And so I'm to be a part of restoring the institution so we can get our place back at the table here in the AUC Center. What we do regarding educating, the social aspect of our college, just the historical impact of how all the are connected, critically important. You know, when you look at the AUC Center, a lot of people call me all the time and say, you know, I didn't go to Morris Brown, but I took classes at Morris Brown. I have people here who graduate from Morris Brown who say, I went to Morris Brown, I graduated from Morris Brown, but I took classes at Morehouse. I took classes at Spelman. I took classes at Clark and ITC and the others because we were all interconnected. One big happy family. And so we want to make sure that Morris Brown is fully restored so we can get our place back at the table.
Awesome, awesome. And as it pertains to education, you know, I know that, you know, HBCUs have very big on telling our stories and our history and all of those things and focusing on us. But I want to know from a curricular standpoint, has things changed as it pertains to where we're living in now, the times that we're living now? Are there like courses or anything specific that is kind of, I would say that we're kind of reworking and the conversations are changing due to the current environment in which we are?
Yes. So we've gone through and we're going through our accreditation right now. So we've had through and revised and updated all of our programs. So we have 3 umbrellas of programs: business, psychology, and music. Okay. Now, under the big umbrella, we have brought back and revised our hospitality and management program. Back in the day, that was one of our top programs, how to run hotels. We were only one of the only HBCUs that has that program. Global business, global leadership, organizational management. We have certificates in entrepreneurship, nonprofit leadership, nonprofit management. And we created, and I'm very proud of this, Morris Brown is now the first school in Georgia with a degree in esports performance.
Oh, wow.
Esports is huge. It's
huge.
$1 billion.
Yep.
And so we have a degree in esports performance. So that is definitely the future in STEM and technology. And then, of course, we have our music program, music production, choir, as well as entertainment, business, music entertainment. And then we also have our psychology program, which is very popular as well.
Awesome. No, that's amazing, especially going back to the esports. You know, that is, like you said, a multi-billion-dollar industry, but we make up, I think it's like, we did an article recently, it's like point something % of that industry, other people working in it, owning in it, all of that type of stuff. So that's awesome.
Yep, and Morris Brown's going to be a leader there because we're the only school with the program, the degree program. And so we want to be cutting edge and be the place where folks come to learn how to not only be gamers, but to lead in the gaming industry.
Awesome. So recently you guys held a homecoming, a virtual homecoming, but you guys were able to raise about $550,000. How important is donors to the success of Morris Brown and HBCUs as a whole?
Well, very important to answer the question.
Okay.
You know, if we don't support us, why should anyone else? I think the last statistic that I read was 13% of graduates of HBCU give back to their HBCU. And so that we have to change. You know, the way that it is, you need to think about your HBCU the same way you think about your church. When you go to church, you don't go to church and not leave something on the altar. So I kind of like that. That's my little analogy. When you come to homecoming, you leave something on the altar. When you come to Founders Day, leave something on the altar. Mail in a check, get on a monthly distribution where you're, giving something back to the institution. We have to give back to our institutions because, again, these big donors are looking to see how the alumni support the institution. If the alumni are not supporting the institution, then why should I give $20 million? Why should I give $1 gift, etc.? So we just have to do a better job of showing the why it's important for our HBCUs. If no body else pours into us, we have to be able to take care of ourselves. And so that is why it's so important that everybody who's watching, please give back to your historically Black college.
Please.
And if you go to Black college, that doesn't mean you can't give to your favorite
Still
HBCU.
do. Yep.
Do something.
Awesome, awesome. And my last question for you is, what's your idea for the future of Morris Brown College? What can we look forward to?
Sure. Well, it's a lot of innovative things going on right now. The first is we're working on our full accreditation. We're working on that. We're working on making sure that our academic program is cutting edge. We're going to be very competitive in the field. We want to provide a phenomenal education where folks come here and get everything to be able to go out and lead. We want to be leaders. And I'm just so excited about the innovative things that are going on. You know, Morris Brown will be the first to ever do this. And I've already received several phone calls from other closed HBCUs. Now, we never closed, but other that actually did close called me saying they've been watching what Morris Brown is doing, and they want to work on reopening their HBCUs. At 3 phone calls by closed HBCUs that now want to try to come back. So, you know, we just want to be cutting edge and leaders in the industry. And that is my vision as the president of Morris Brown College.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Dr. Kevin James, thank you so much for the work that you're doing, the work that you're continuing to do. Let us know however we can help. Articles, interviews, set something up. Donate some money. We got you. Quintessential Gentleman, we will, here, we'll donate something over to Morris Brown College just to make that happen. We want everybody to follow suit. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Have a good day. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you, sir, for having me.